Okay, everybody, now we're going to do another lesson related to a magic triangle. These are handy little tools that can help us solve certain kinds of problems, and we can make a magic triangle for our interest formula. We can set it up just like this: interest up here, and then you've got principal, rate, and time. And remember, when you have these triangles, the line between top to bottom means division. Beside, side by side means multiplication. And so having this triangle can help you when you are maybe solving for principal or rate to know exactly what it is you need to do, how to readjust your formula to make that work out. Okay? So the first one, we're still doing what we've done before, what we did on the previous worksheet. We're solving for interest. So all we have to do, we know we have interest equals principal times rate times time right there. So $3,200 times 0.07 times 2.5, and we get times 2.5. We get $560 worth of interest that was paid on that $3,200 loan. Okay? Now the next one, though, we want principal. So we have to come up to our triangle and look at how we would make that work, okay? So what we would need to do, remember, would be to sort of X this one out, because that's what we're solving for, and see what we have left. And what we have left is interest divided by rate times time, okay? And so we know that our interest is $210, and we're going to divide that by 0.06 times 2, okay? So if we get our calculator, of course, we see that 0.06 times 2 is going to be 0.12, and we're going to divide 210 by that, okay? So we have 210 divided by 0.12, and we get $1,750, okay? That was our principal. That's the loan that we took out, okay? That's how you find that. So let me fix my triangle before we move on to the next problem. Okay, the next one we're solving for rate, okay? I'm going to draw a line here so we can solve it up above since my sheet's running out of room. It says a loan of $1,500, so that's the principal, earns $180 interest over 3 years. Find the annual interest rate as a percent, okay? We'll have to remember to do that as the last step, okay? So what we do is same thing. Let's just hide that so we see what we have. In order to find rate, we need interest divided by principal times time, right? So we have rate is equal to 1,500 divided by, oh wait, no, sorry. I was like, that can't be right, because it is not right. I put principal in the wrong spot. Interest is $180 divided by principal, which is 1,500 times 3. So we go to our calculator and we have 180 divided by 4,500. And we get 0.04. And so we know to make that a percentage, we have to go 1, 2, and we have a rate of 4%, okay? And we do not have a problem to do time, but you can see it would be the same. It all breaks down the same. You just cover up the part of the triangle that you are solving for, and it shows you what your equation should be. Okay, now we're going to look really quickly at partial payments, because there's just an extra step or two in there in finding the partial payment, okay? Because people will sometimes, they'll make a big payment. If you have a loan and you're trying to pay it off, you might make a partial payment early to try to knock some of your interest out, okay? So you have a $2,400 loan at 8% that's due in 150 days, okay? You made a $900 payment on day 50. Now, in order to figure out our new principal after the payment, what we still owe, we have to go through a few steps. It says using the partial payment steps from the lesson, determine the amount of interest owed at day 50. Okay, and we're using ordinary, so that's the 360. So the first thing we need to do is find our time, which is going to be equal to 50 divided by 360, because we don't want to use the whole loan amount. This is the day we made our payment, the 50. So we've got to figure out what that is. So we just go to our calculator and divide 50 by 360, and we get a big long number that I am going to round to 0.139. Okay, so we figure interest owed at day 30 the same way at day 50, the same way we would figure any interest. We had $2,400. We had 8%, and now we have this for our time factor. Okay, so we go to our calculator and we do 2,400 times 0.08 times 0.139, and we get $26.69 with rounding. That was the amount of interest owed at day 50. Okay, so this amount, this $26.69, was already interest. It was already beyond the principal. So when we paid $900, we have to subtract the interest from that to show what actually went off of our $2,400. Okay, so if we had $900 that we paid and $26.69 was the interest, then if you subtract the amount of interest that was owed from what you paid, then you will see which part of that money actually went towards reducing your principal. And you see that $873.31 went towards the principal. That was the amount of the payment applied to the principal. So now you just need to find your new principal after the payment. And that is as easy as it sounds like it is. You just take your original principal, subtract the amount of money that was applied to it, and you have a new principal of $1,526.69. Okay, and you will see, you see when you get a statement from a car loan or something, because you're paying on that. You don't pay your car off, or most of us don't, all in one lump sum. You're paying on it as you go. And so you'll get a statement that shows what your principal was, what your payment was, how much went to your principal, and how much went to pay interest. Okay, and this is basically just a very simplified version over a short period of time of that. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me.